we have to keep it like at this distance because too
Yeah.
close.
Ja. Was geht, Freunde? Wir sind hier gerade in Mailand, Fashion Week. Heute mal in einer kleinen Special-Folge im Podcast. Wir sind heute nur zu zweit, weil Karl ist heute bei Tots arbeiten. Shoutouts an Karl, wir haben nicht unseren Gedanken. Wir sind hier heute mit Jill. Jill ist Designer, hier aus Italien. Den habe ich letztens im Club kennengelernt. Ziemlich lustige Story. Direkt connected, hat direkt einfach gepasst. Und ich feiere seine Sachen extrem. Wir haben hier vorne auch ein Beispiel, was er mal an Clothing macht. Wir reden heute einfach mal ein bisschen so über seine Brand-Ästhetik, was so seine Vision ist. Ihr wisst, ich würde den Podcast nicht machen, wenn ich nicht wirklich interessiert daran wäre, was er macht. Das ist auf jeden Fall pretty, excuse me, pardon. Gerade ist aufgewacht. Das ist auf jeden Fall pretty nice Stuff dabei. Er hat eine ziemlich coole Ansicht auf die Dinge, gerade auf Fashion. Viel High Fashion auf jeden Fall, wo sich Inspiration zieht. Genauso wie aber auch so ein paar einzelne Details, die man sonst eigentlich gar nicht so sieht. Wir werden es auf Englisch machen, weil he doesn't understand German, I don't understand Italian, so
I'm sorry.
no worries. We'll have to do it in English, but be ready. And I would say we just start. And yeah, you can just tell something about yourself, maybe.
Okay. So my name is Jill, and I live in Milan, and I'm a fashion designer, and I'm the founder of the brand Carnivora. So
That's, I think, where we can start off. How did you come up with the name?
so that's a funny story actually. I came out about the name before even like knowing that I had to make a brand, because basically, long story short, I had this friend who was really like kind of criminal. So we used to like hang out, and he used to do the craziest shit. And one day, specifically, we was like hanging out. We was hungry. We was like a group of people, and everybody was like trying to get like, oh, let's eat some pizza, let's eat some sushi and stuff. But he was like, nah, man, I'm like carnivorous. I'm gonna eat only meat, you know. And that thing clicked on me because like uh, he made like it was like a comparison between like a predator and a normal person, because he was like really about that life. So he imprinted in me that type of person that I was trying to push my brand toward, like to the type of person that would represent my brand. So basically, yeah,
Someone who eats up all the concurrents, all the people around him. Like, I think you have to do a little explanation what a carnivora is.
Okay, so basically, Carnivora, actually, that is just the imprinting that I had, but actually Carnivora, it has another meaning because it takes inspiration from the plant, the Venus flytrap, which is a carnivorous plant.
Is it? It's the name in Italy, right? Like you call this? That's the official word for the plant in Italian.
It's in English.
It's called carnivora in English.
No, in English, the official name is the Venus flytrap.
Yeah.
But in general, it's the Venus flytrap is like a part of the carnivore plants. Yeah.
Okay, it's like a overgroup.
Yeah, exactly.
For it, bro.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So the carnivore plants always fascinated me because basically they are plants, so they are like the last in the food chain, but somehow they managed to jump millions of years of natural evolution from plants to like living creatures, and they managed to do this huge jump and start eating like live animals. So for me, that was something that was occurring in my life too, and I wanted to represent the people that actually in their life managed to like do huge steps and like leaping steps and coming to the like upper echelon without like
change up the rules, basically, like change the rules of nature.
Yeah,
even though nobody was expecting something from them, they even
Yeah,
managed to still get the upper hand on some of
yeah,
even the lower living. Yeah, yeah, it's pretty cool actually. We talked about it before. I just wanted to show the people um, why I'm so fascinated about the whole brand you're doing, because you're a guy. You told me you don't get inspiration too much from other brands. You just
yeah,
recently got into, like, getting more and more information about high fashion brands, what they're doing,
yeah,
and this was really cool for me, especially because I've seen your stuff, and normally, like, the streetwear brands I know, they all do basically the same thing. They do a hoodie, they print something on there,
yeah,
and to see somebody really being experimental with, like, textures and garments and new
yeah,
techniques, how to make a thing more interesting, is really refreshing, because it's just changing up the whole normal way of doing a brand that
yeah,
everybody's doing right now. So I really fucked with it, and
yeah,
yeah, I see you do a lot of with pink. You like pink a lot.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So basically, for this first collection, I wanted to be pretty much specific about my
Hmm.
intentions.
Hmm.
So I wanted to keep it cool and to use only pink and black
Hmm.
because I felt like those were like opposite sides.
Hmm.
And for me, everything is about equilibrium and
Hmm.
balance. So I was trying to find a good compromise. And actually, the first collection is called Love and War.
Hmm.
So it is like, mm, for me, pink that represents love and
Hmm.
war is the black. And since me myself, I always had this duality, this
Hmm.
polarity in myself, I wanted to also show it through my pieces of this collection. So besides like the colorway, also with like fabrics and technologies used, I wanted to get something raw, but
Hmm.
at the same time like cute and um,
Like something that warms up your heart, if you think about, like, I think pink for me is a color that is just, it grabs the attention, but in like a positive way.
mm.
um I love the color in general. If you're talking about war, have you ever been like, did you have a backstory with that?
Yeah, actually, I not specifically war, thanks to God, but
Mm-hmm.
like I did had some episodes of violence in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and I also like see someone dying
Mm-hmm.
in front of my eyes, so that was like kind of like shitty for me. And in general, like my life, I feel like has been true. Like my life has always been through these two opposites
Mm-hmm.
because I would like not only like to from love to war, but
Mm-hmm.
also from like poverty to richness. So I always seen both sides
Mm-hmm.
because I grew up like in a poor family,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, like my dad had to make many sacrifices for
Mm-hmm.
me to get me to school.
Mm-hmm.
And when he managed to like to get me to a private school, he
Mm-hmm.
was doing double shift just to pay. So I'm gonna always be grateful for that.
So do you think, like, you have to pay something back to him out of the reasons?
Well, I feel like I owe him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So um, like lately in last years, I did help him. I
Mm-hmm.
do help like at home and with money, financially
Yeah.
talking. So I feel like I am giving back some of what he gave me, but of course I will never fully get like give
Yeah,
him
of
back
course, yeah.
everything, you know.
Yeah, I think
So
the effort parents put into their children sometimes gets way too short noticed by the children
absolutely,
itself. Like, if I think about
yeah,
what my parents did for me, I can just be grateful, because I mean, I've been, growing up in a family where we don't had to, bother not too much about money. Thank
yeah,
to God, as you said. Like, I'm
mm,
really grateful for that. Still, my parents always told me, like, yo, do your own stuff. Like, you have to stand on your own feet. That's why I'm here in Milan. Like, I don't think that a lot of people in our age traveled a lot and can get in contact with people. You had siblings as well, right?
yeah, I
So
do,
that on top, like, they had to take care of multiple children as well.
yeah.
So yeah, what's your nationality, by the way?
So I was born in Morocco and I
Mhm.
came here when I was 2 years old, and
Oh yeah,
eventually
so
I grew up here. Yeah. So I do have siblings, and I am the bigger one.
you're the oldest one.
Yeah, yeah,
Damn, bro. Big siblings on top, like.
yeah. So you know what I mean when I tell you like us, like personally also I always been so much responsible for my brother since I was a kid
You think you're
because
like a big inspiration for him too, or like a role model?
yeah, I do because one of my brothers actually is really influenced by me in a
Mhm.
good way though, because I consider myself like the black sheep of the family
Mhm.
because I'm the crazy one. I'm always been like that. I'm always been like breaking the rules.
Mhm.
So like every little my dad was very strict.
Mhm.
So I had to break down all the barriers,
Mhm.
and I did that not only for me, but only for also for my brothers. So they had like a easier life because I had to break down
Holy
everything.
shit! What the fuck?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think like this is something that is also coming very short. I think a lot of creative people I talk to give me the same resonance or say the same thing. It's like I had to break the rules to get somewhere,
yeah,
and I think nowadays parents they want their children to go study, they want their children to just live by the books, and the world is changing like faster than ever before. And I noticed this too, and coming from a family where like they told me like go study, go the right way just to be safe. Is it's I noticed early that this is nothing for me, and I think we were the same on this topic.
yeah,
um that like if you without risk you will not achieve anything in this world.
yeah,
I think like you have to take a certain amount of risk and just be really going out there and meeting people, connect with people that have the same mindset as you to be able to really create something in this world that um, it's just like life fulfilling for you. You
yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly. Also, like going back to what we was speaking about earlier, um, I did it for the people that has in life was like leaping steps. So for me, I don't want to sound like this is another brand that is doing it for people that is working hard and
Hmm.
shit like that, because I know there is a lot like of game changers,
Hmm.
if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah, I've
So
seen the videos like up and down on my for you page, bro. Like,
but
this brand is something you're gonna need,
yeah,
bro.
like oh, this is for the
Yes.
hustlers, this is
Yeah, yeah.
like
With AI voice, like at least go out there and talk
yeah,
to
yeah,
them.
yeah. No, that's not necessarily me
Mhm.
because it's not like about working hard, but it's about working smart for me.
And
So
passionate for me is like a lot of passion. Like if I talk about
yeah,
passion with you guys, for me it's like I do this because I want to, you know, um, tell people about what is possible with fashion. For me, fashion is just so much more than just cool looks and clothing. It's way more about like what you can express, what kind of feeling it gets you. You don't buy a Balenciaga hoodie for $1,800, for example, because the quality is super great and the shape is cool. It is, of course, but I think the main thing about it is like the way it makes you feel. And
yeah,
if you wear a Balenciaga hoodie, you can just see that people get way confident or like more confident just because like they wear
yeah,
something that is so known in their brain as something that gets attention and like is positive, has a positive resonance in front of other people. And that's just like the confidence you get from fashion that I want to teach
yeah,
people. Like, yeah.
yeah, yeah, sure. Like, is it also important for me to represent the philosophy of the brand through like visually, aesthetically, and through the garments in general? So, if I can make a quick example, is like plant like nature is really fascinating because uh, like nature will always try to find the quickest path
Mm-hmm.
to somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, like a plant will always try to like find the quickest path to reach sunlight.
Mm-hmm.
I can make another example, like in Tokyo back in the
Mm-hmm.
years when they was trying to like build the
In
metropolitan system.
the infrastructure basically of the trains, right? I
Yeah,
think I know
you
this
saw that.
with the mushrooms.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
is so
yeah, yeah,
crazy.
yeah. So you can see like nature will try to find the quickest
Yeah.
way to everything.
Yeah.
So I feel like this philosophy apply in our world too, can
Yeah.
be applied, because often as humans like lose that organic thing that we have to like reach goals in the most fast way, and we try to like build something more mechanical that is not really natural. So for me it's really important to keep in mind that mindset, like have that mindset of trying to reach goals in the most authentic and organic way.
You know, there's I think, who said that? Was it Albert Einstein or Steve Jobs? I'm not sure. Before I say something bad, but it was one of them who said, um, if you want something to be done good, but at the same time quickly, just give it to a lazy person, because he will
Yeah.
find the easiest way
You know,
to do it.
you know who said that actually? Not Steve Jobs, the guy of Microsoft. Bill Gates.
Yeah, Bill Gates. Bill
Yeah,
Gates.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
It was
He
one of
said,
them.
yeah.
But yeah, it is true. Like, I noticed this for myself, because like, if we go a little bit deeper into my like past with being creative, being into fashion, just growing up in Germany where everything is basically safe, but everything is done by book.
Mm.
I really had problems with my teachers back then, because the stuff that they were teaching us was just like out of the books. But for me, I was always like a creative person, outgoing, just way too active for that. You could say I have ADHD, even though like doctors say I don't. But in this kind of context, it was just like, yo, I'm not gonna learn anything by just reading books, listening
Yeah.
to you. It's not working for me, and that's why I never like came along with my teachers. But as soon as I went out of like school and like just traveled a lot, basically got my shit done, and I noticed that the way I have to do stuff is in a way more creative way.
Yeah. Absolutely. I feel the same way actually. I've always been like, so like I can learn way better through experience in general, not only in school. So like learning through books was always something hard for me. Like learning like data in an automatic way. For me it was also like always about like the method and like the skill in general. So for me it's all about skills, like what can I do, what can I like apply to my life. And often I'm not gonna lie, I was cheating on my taste a lot of
Yeah, but
times.
that's also like a form of intelligence. To no, like, is I'm not saying that you should cheat, guys. Like, don't, like, everybody who sees this, don't cheat in your tests and shit. But
You should cheat, guys. I will say
it's coming from him, not from me.
that.
But in some kind of way, it shows like that you are taking the risk to get the maximum amount of positive resonance. So it's just you know again, cheating is not okay, but it still shows like a lot of intelligence when it comes to how can I solve this problem? Like I'm standing in front of a fucking big problem. How can I solve this?
Yeah.
And this is the solution. Cheating.
Yeah.
In this kind of way. I mean, life's not fair.
Yeah.
Get a helmet, like, for real. Like, life's not fair.
No.
This is what I noticed. Like, even yesterday, like, I think I should have to. Yeah, I have to tell the story. We were out getting Carl from his shooting, and we left the car in Milano. We know that Milano is a little bit sketchy, and we come back and we don't even notice first, but they broke into the car somehow, and they sold my Mac and some other stuff as well, some electronics. I got lucky that it didn't steal my passport, but still, like, life's not fair. Shit happens. Best thing you can do is just like get up, grab your helmet, and go next. For real.
Absolutely. So for me, like, if I had to put down some values, is like work smart first of all, be passionate about your work, and like really put passion and also put love into what you do, because this, like, I know it feels like a stereotype, but when you put love in every aspect of your life, I feel like everything in your life is gonna be more elevated, because like you're looking, like you're putting empathy towards your work.
Yeah.
So you're really like if I put empathy towards like the people I'm trying to reach and like what I really want to give them, I feel like they will feel it. They will feel it through my garments. So it is always important to
Have
like
this passion.
keep
Yeah.
that in mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for me, like I feel the same. For me, like my passion is fashion, and I never really made a lot of money by doing that. And I'm self-employed. I do my stuff. I do content for others as well. So I do my money. But I think the first few years where you just follow your passion is just gonna be like a very hard time to make money because you're not going to do any money, but at some
Yeah.
point there will be a switch where people will recognize your passion and the
Yeah.
person behind it and what the person is trying to project.
Yeah.
And yeah, for me, that, like, for example, there's always like some little goals or little things that happen that give you more motivation. Also, one of the reasons I like to travel a lot, because I meet people like you that are
Yeah.
creative in the way that I am too, and just if we can connect, we can talk about
Yeah.
this stuff. You get some inspiration from another country, I get inspiration from another country, and for me, for example, like something that happened recently that gave me motivation. Since I've been doing content, I got invited to the premiere of Becoming Calligrapher to Berlin. That's like a Disney
Mm.
Plus series, and there were a lot of fashion influencers, content creators, people from the fashion scene in general, like Christiane Ab.
Mm.
I was able to meet. That's the chef, the boss redactor, I think it's called redactor,
Mm.
of Vogue Germany.
Oh.
So
Okay.
like
That's cool.
in fashion, she has like a very she has something to say, let's say like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just to talk to her and talk about like fashion in general with a person that is so already like involved into like the whole fashion scene, it was just like for me like a dream come true.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
my hopes for the future is that I'll that people will notice my passion about fashion and see that I really like to work with fashion. I really like to style fashion. I like the history. I like garments. I like cuts, doing like anything about fashion. It's just
Yeah.
more than just garments and textures.
Mhm.
I think this is same thing for you too, because I see your work. I see how much effort you put into really like researching the garment itself.
Yeah.
And what I also notice is that for you, you don't really do any influencer marketing because you don't want your
No.
product to be like for everybody, but for the right person.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, I've always been hesitant about doing that because I feel like um, I'm not really looking for quantity but for quality. So for me, to make a collaboration is very important to like click with the other person and like to have the same, not only the same vibe and aesthetic but the same mindset also, because I feel like not everybody have the same mindset that, for example, me or you have. A lot of people are trying to like are doing the things for their ego. I'm not saying I'm not doing it for my ego because I feel like in a certain way
I think you
everyone.
have to bring some ego to the table
Yeah,
to
yeah,
make
yeah,
this
yeah,
work. Like especially when it comes to like it's not working. It's not really working the way you want it right now. But your ego is pushing you to keep grinding, keep the hustle up, and
yeah,
just continue doing what you love.
yeah,
And that's
yeah,
where the ego is really important.
yeah, yeah. Like there is like a positive side of having an ego but also like a bad side, because sometimes your ego will like push you to take a route, to take like a way to do things that is not really optimal. And that's what I mean, like you should always try to look for the uh, like shorter path
Mm-hmm.
to a result. I'm not saying like you have to get worse results. Like absolutely you should try to always get the best result
Mm-hmm.
in every aspect, but I feel like to you can obtain the same result in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes your ego will tell you, no, you should do that in this way because this is how they tell you to do it. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is how it's supposed to be done. But no, maybe you can obtain the same result or even better through through a new way that maybe never no one ever did. So
It's very
it is
interesting.
really,
Yeah, get the.
yeah.
How do you like? This is it's just this is how I noticed like your work. How I just was flabbergasted when I saw it before, like the first time. How do you like do your research on the textiles and like
Oh,
the in general garments that you use?
yeah. So actually, for this first collection, I actually went to China
Mm-hmm.
because we are producing in China in a really nice factory
Mm-hmm.
that also used to work for No Fate Studios.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh
they
yeah,
are,
shout outs, Louis
yeah,
Doddle Garden.
yeah. They're very big. They're very nice. And I met like the girl that used to personally get in contact with
Mm-hmm.
Louis. Like she was also talking with me, and she made me go to the biggest fabric market in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the opportunity to source some really interesting stuff, man, like some
Mm-hmm.
really interesting fabrics and textures. And the funny thing is, like, I would go into a shop, I would like look for the fabrics,
Mm-hmm.
and all the fabrics I was picking like were all like new fabrics. And the girl like that was working there was like, "Oh, you have such a nice taste because those like just came out. Like, how do you like you have eyes, you know?"
That was pretty cool when we were in Corso Como.
Yeah.
There's like a boutique here in Milan, probably the biggest or best boutique like there is,
Hmm.
one of the best
Yeah,
in
it's
the
really
whole
nice.
world. And when we went through all the cool pieces like Junya Watanabe, Konagasama, everything,
Mm.
and we went through there yesterday, and you're like, "Yo, I saw this garment. Yo, I had this in my hand.
Oh
I had
yeah,
the
yeah.
opportunity." I was like, "What? Okay, that's
Yeah,
crazy, bro."
yeah,
And I think what a lot of people don't get or like don't understand is because they hear, "Yo, it's made in China," but they don't
yeah,
know what is made in China. Because most of the times, like the real crazy fabrics, they're most of the time from China. It's
yeah,
just the way they get assembled and sewed together is where it becomes like made in Italy.
yeah,
Because the texture and garments itself are from China, but they get assembled here in Italy or in Germany or somewhere, and then they get the mark where it says like made in this
yeah,
country.
yeah, exactly. So also I went to another fabric store that sells like high end fabrics here
Mm-hmm.
in Milan. After I went to China, I found a lot of fabrics.
Mm-hmm.
The one that you were talking about in Corso Como, I found the same one,
Yeah.
and it was like 5 times the original
Oh
price.
fuck.
So I feel like in a certain way, some stuff it's all about marketing because like they're gonna tell. When I went to that store, they were like, "Oh, this is like like it just came. This fabric just came. It's really high quality.
Mm-hmm.
We have Italian quality, even though I perfectly knew it was from China." So
Yeah.
sometimes they just label stuff.
They're sketchy. It's
It's
sketchy.
sketchy,
Like,
yeah.
do you think like still you got a lot of inspiration here from Italy or Milan in general? Because I feel like we talked about it yesterday too that or like in Europe in general we have these few hotspots when it comes to fashion, and Milan is one of them. And if you look at the difference between like the chic style that is like really active here in very common here in Italy, then you have this very like fashionable style
Yeah,
with new and like a little bit more experimental stuff in Paris, for example. But then
yeah.
Berlin, on the other hand, is like very dark aesthetic, like Rick Owens, Boris Bijan, and
Mm,
way more like cool in a certain way, more youthful,
yeah.
more like adjusted to this raver culture that is going on.
Mhm.
Do you feel like Italy is the best place for you to get your inspiration for your kind of aesthetic?
So uh, I feel like in general, Milan is definitely a really nice spot to start from
Hmm.
compared to a lot of other places. But if I can make a comparison through like from Milan or maybe America in
Hmm.
general, I feel like yeah, it is like my brand has had like the spirit of elevated garments
Hmm.
are something that I don't usually see in foreign brands as per se like in American brands because I feel like they're really more focused about like maybe graphics or screen printing, those
Yeah,
type
I
of.
noticed that too. For me, like I talked to some Americans yesterday at the club, um, Also very interesting because, like, Milan is full for fashion week, full of models, and they have a lot of knowledge about fashion. Not all of them, to be fair, but some have a decent amount of knowledge about fashion. And especially with the Americans, I noticed that, bro, they're just wearing random shit. Like, they're really overdoing it. I'm not saying like Americans don't have style, but in comparison to Germany,
Mm,
France, Italy, it feels like they're overdoing it. They're trying
mm,
to be their own main character always, and then like
yeah,
really overdoing it with stuff. Even though, to be honest, I could really see, for example, this jacket or some of your stuff in America
yeah,
on rappers, for example, because
yeah,
like this is something that could be worn on stage, and
yeah,
I know that this is very limited too. This is a very
yeah,
limited
yeah. This
pace.
is a one-on-one.
We can see we can talk about the backroom idea of your
Yeah,
brand. This is
yeah,
super interesting, but we'll get there soon. And like this is something that I could see on a rapper in America, for example, like a
yeah,
one of one piece that he only is wearing on stage.
yeah, for sure. Like me and like the American style in general was. I'm not gonna lie, it is a big inspiration
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to talking about like the fitting
Mm-hmm.
of the garments. So it is actually streetwear, but it is more elevated through fabrics and through details.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, like I feel like everybody is fucking sick of the another screen printed
Mm-hmm.
shit on a hoodie.
Yeah, it's just,
So
everybody's doing the same right now.
yeah, so I always try to like give more, and yeah, like for me, silhouettes and fabrics are the main like focal point of everything.
Do you have like a technique that you used to work with to make some cool clothing that was the hardest to do for you?
Yeah, for me, the hard part is like to keep balance because I perfectly know I can just overdo it, like just go way above and just do overdo shit and just say, "Oh, look, I'm creative." Because, but for me, a real artist like has to be really balanced. So for me, like keeping something clean and tight and neat
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, like give it like that twist that like refresh it. It's very important because if I just start like doing random shit,
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, I feel like I'm like the the meaning like the meaning of the garment is gonna get lost. Like people will see it and will not understand
Yeah.
like what's the focal point about that garment.
Mm-hmm.
So to keep it tight and direct is the best way, but it's not always as easy as it sounds to do.
That's true. That's yeah. It's actually like this. Like people don't always see like what is really the meaning behind the clothing. Like they don't even get the design language at this point of some
Yeah,
brands because if I see Regowens in the store, I know it's Regowens. Like I don't
yeah,
have to look
yeah,
twice. I see the
yeah,
way I see like the buttons. I see the texture. I see the shape, and I
mhm,
know this is Regowens without even looking at the tag.
yeah,
And I think this is really important to apply for every brand, but this is where most of the streetwear brands just um, disconnect.
yeah,
To put it like that, like you can't see the difference between the one brand and the other one
yeah,
because everybody's
exactly.
doing the same shit all and all over again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So for me, as you said, the like the uh, what is it? What did you call it? The language,
Design
the
language,
design language. Sorry.
no worries.
So for me, the design language is very important to be very specific about your work and like to be able. For me, the biggest flex is like when I had such a good design language that people can automatically
Hmm.
see, oh, this is Carnivora, or this is
Hmm.
Jill, like this
Hmm.
is Jill's work
Hmm.
because it's very specific, you know. And yeah, we can also talk about that because, for example, you saw the pixelated art.
Oh yeah, he's concentrating on a lot of accessories as well,
Yeah,
and I really like this because like I think we all know we have like the same hoodie like 50 times at this
yeah,
point, and the only way to really I think put yourself out there to show the world that you can do more is by doing a lot of cool accessories that
yeah,
nobody else has done before. Maybe I can even show like some of
yeah.
the stuff
Sure.
for
Yeah,
you
go ahead.
because this is something I saw on the website when we talked
Mm,
about it, and this
yeah,
is also something that caught me up to the things you're doing. Because this, for example, is a chain.
it's a pendant. Yeah.
Exactly, it's a gun, but in like a pixel kind of work. You know, this is like
Yeah.
the pendant for the actual chain, and this was just like a 3D print, right? You do this with like over a layer of metal over there, over it, right?
No,
Or
so this is fully 3D printed.
yeah,
It's with resin,
that's the
and
logo, by the way.
yeah,
So you've seen this soon.
the logo, by the way, it's called the Fauci, the Faucis.
Yeah,
It represents the Faucis of the carnivore
yeah.
plant, and yeah, I do work with 3D stuff with accessories a lot. Not only accessories, but in general about lifestyle. So my goal, as you said, like brands are concentrating a lot on clothes. It's not wrong, but I feel like to really create a brand that is long lasting and to really like share the design language, you have to go like 360 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would like in future to also do furniture, do
Mm-hmm.
any type of accessory. One of like my biggest inspirations as a brands are like Supreme or Chrome Hearts, because I really like the work they be doing
Mm-hmm.
with all that lifestyle type shit.
Mm-hmm.
So Supreme is kinda like, I'm not gonna say lazy, but they just put their logo on shit and
Yeah,
that's
of
it.
course. Yeah, yeah.
You know, for me it's a little bit different. I'm trying to like re-elaborate every aspect, like the shape
Mm-hmm.
of the items. So when I re-elaborated them, keeping the same balance as
Mm-hmm.
we spoke, like keeping balance and like putting through the design language.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. This is something we talked about too. The like like the carnivore plant. Like it's almost like a mistake in the natural evolving chain,
Yeah.
and also like everything you see, everything you do. I noticed that there's like errors, like mistakes that shouldn't have been there,
Mm.
but just still makes sense. You know,
Yeah.
it's still like cool. Like you can see this over here. Like I think I told like for me this gives me very Spider-Man into a different or into a multiverse vibes. Like the whole Miles Morales Spider-Man movies that just came out are very inspiration. Like I compare it a lot, or I told them already because this looks like an error in general. Like
Yeah.
you have a chain, but that's fully pixel up, and then you have spikes coming out here. Or again, up there, the whole jacket is just like you look at it and you're like, yo, this is so. It's just like it could be like a error in the matrix.
Yeah, I like what you just said because this is exactly what I was trying to build. Because
Awesome.
so yeah, still talking about the philosophy, like about leaping steps, about like jumping the ladder, like so, like just jumping and go to the upper echelon.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like internet has like what had a really big role in all that, because for example 40, 50 years ago, a designer would never dream about becoming like famous at 25.
Mm-hmm.
You like all the famous designers were like old people, because they had to go through years of hard work and hard
Mm-hmm.
sacrifices to get to where they at. I feel like to nowadays, thanks to technologies, we are able not only to create faster and better, and like to we are able to like bring our ideas more easily into the world
Mm-hmm.
thanks to technologies. Because for example, like this shit, if I had to do it like 50 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
I would never be able, because the technology was so expensive that
Yeah.
like if you're not a really huge brand, you could
Yeah.
never. Today, even like a small brand can like manage to do some shit like that.
But they're
And
simply not because like
yeah.
they're just not that creative. I feel like that's also a topic we talked about. Like marketing at this point is very taking over because if you have a good marketing but your product is shit, it's still going to sell. It's just
Yeah.
like I don't want to name any brand names, but I
Yeah.
think there's like everybody knows some brands that are exactly doing this,
Yeah.
and I think people that are not that deep into fashion often step into this trap where the marketing is so great. I desire this piece throughout the marketing, but the garment itself, they don't have any clue about the garment. They don't have any clue about how it got sewed together, and then they just buy shitty products and do trend hopping
Yeah.
all like over and over again. Like this is coming out, that's a cool trend. I'm gonna go do this, and then the next week it's gonna go this trend. And then
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
just
yeah.
spend money, but don't really invest in something that will stay.
Yeah, like that's not my shit. Like I want pieces that are like forever. Well, I would like to, and like also about keeping talking about this like the disruption. What I was trying to say is that internet has helped us a lot to also go viral and also like showcase your work to more people.
Yeah, it's more outgoing at this point. Like
Yeah,
I see how many people I can reach if I like talk fashion, like passionate about what I think about fashion. This is
yeah,
why I started in the first place to teach people about fashion
yeah,
in a certain way.
exactly. So uh, like by that like the spikes you can see in the pixel
Mm-hmm.
represent the disruption of the internet, or you can say the matrix.
Mm-hmm.
So when some like out of 10 people, maybe there will be one guy that can actually go viral,
Mm-hmm.
and like because 10 people can try, it will not go viral. Like they will not put that spirit
Yeah.
into their content.
Uh,
So when you see someone go viral, like that's the type of person I'm trying to represent with my work, because
mm-hmm.
they had something, they are able to communicate with people, so they are able to disrupt the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's the whole meaning of it, of like this type of style. And it was not easy, because I had the idea like I want to represent those people, but I don't know how. So for me, this is like a really nice um like visual language to be able to translate that philosophy into actual pieces.
I really like that in general, like how you came up with the idea, bro. I'm really fascinated about that because I think for a lot of people they start doing a brand, they give it a name without any reason because it sounds cool, but you really put effort. Like you told me that you took some time before making this brand
Yeah,
and thought about like, yo, what is this brand supposed to be? Like,
yeah,
what do I want? What kind of feeling do I want to give people? Like, what is the meaning behind my brand? It
yeah,
has to have like a deeper meaning, like
yeah,
something that people can relate to, that you can basically, like, this is your brand, that you can really relate to and say like, yes, I want people to see this in my brand.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
Also, like, let's talk about the backstore, because
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly.
yeah,
We teased this before.
because this is the most crazy thing about the brand, I feel.
Yeah, this is really cool because this is also like something that put me onto the boat of your brand because I've never seen this before. Like literally,
Yeah,
I've never seen this before, and we have to be
yeah.
really careful if we talk about this. Just I'm saying because like nobody, you don't want people to copy that.
Well, good luck copying, because it took me like 6 months to develop, because I have a developer that actually coded the entire website. So good luck trying to copy that. If you are able to do that, chapeau. I'm gonna just take.
Oh yeah.
So what I mean, like, first of all, what's the backstore?
Mm-hmm.
So on my website, if you go on the shop, you can find the front store and the back store. There are two separate stores. And on the front store, you can find like most of the collection, most of the
Mm-hmm.
items. Instead of on the back store, there is like limited items that are not like you cannot purchase
Mm-hmm.
unless that you are like a class member.
Like there's like different levels
Yeah.
of the brand. Like for example, you're level zero we talked about, and
Oh yeah. Yeah,
for
yeah.
example, if I get like this what's the name of the card again?
NFC card.
If I
Yeah.
get that MC card and he encoded the card
Yeah.
with like a level one pass,
Yeah, yeah. So
so
let me explain it better, because it is kind of hard to grasp at first. Basically, the backstore is like invitation only store, but like it's not the brand that invites you, but other people. So of course, I will be the first person that
Yeah, yeah.
like the first person that will invite other
Mhm.
people. So what does what the card does is basically when you scan it with your phone, it opens a code, an invitation code, and you can use that invitation code to create a class member account.
Mhm.
So when you create a class member account, you receive like a lot of perks that normal people doesn't get.
Mhm.
And yeah, so it's invitation, like member to member invitation type shit. So
Yeah.
it's like a tree. So I invite you and other two people. So I
Mhm.
invited three people. If each person invite other three people, it's like nine people,
Mhm.
and it's gonna grow exponentially.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want to say. It's growing exponentially down there. It's like a tree going down the
Exactly.
path. Yeah. So we got
Yeah.
level one, level two, level three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And like the perks. First of all, when you become a class member, you can access the backstore, so you
Mhm.
get exclusive products that people cannot buy.
Mhm.
And like I did that to put more value to some pieces, because I feel like nowadays there is every day a millionaire comes out, so people is getting richer and richer. New rich people are coming out every day. So like I wanted to put meaning to pieces besides the monetary value.
Mhm.
So it's not like just about like how expensive can that piece be, but how exclusive can it be.
Mhm.
So this is the first perk. There is other perks, like for example, you get like a certain discount up to like 9%
So the
forever.
higher your level is, the higher like your discount is as well.
Not
Or
exactly. Like when you become a class member, you have
mhm.
0%. Like, like when you first become a class member, you don't have any discount.
Mhm.
But for each new member you invite,
Yeah.
you get like 3% of discount,
Oh shit.
permanent discount.
Permanent, but
Yeah, I mean like on all the new collections,
yeah.
if you buy something from the store, you have that discount.
Is there like a limit to?
Yeah, so it's 3% per person up to 9%. So if you invite three
Mhm.
people, like you reach the maximum like
9%?
yeah, 9%.
Okay, okay, I get
So
that.
yeah, it's permanent. And mm, uh,
I mean, still like 9% of everything you buy for your whole life. It's crazy, bro.
yeah,
And
it
I
is.
really like the idea to, if you want to get this card or like this code, that you have to find a person that
Yeah,
already has a card.
yeah,
So, and to be able to get this, like to connect your phone with the card of the other person, you have to find this person.
yeah,
So it's like a little chasing game as well,
yeah,
as a really, if you do a pop up
yeah,
and people like want to have this discount or want to have the access to the back door, to the back
yeah,
room,
yeah,
it's like, yo, I have to go there. This
yeah,
is like cool, a community event where I can, invite other people, but at the same time get my profit from it too.
yeah,
And I think this is a pretty dope idea. Like honestly, you
yeah.
can do a lot with that.
Yeah, yeah. It like this idea in general has so many, like it can go in so many ways and have so many like updates. It's gonna be interesting to see how it evolves during time. I feel like I might also be able to create a new market. No, remove the might. I will create a new type of market, because
Hmm.
eventually, if the brand pop out, this technology is gonna be the new type. Like since Supreme, I feel
Hmm.
like Supreme did like an amazing job about reinventing the wheel, because the market they made at first,
Hmm.
nobody did it. I feel like this is another step. Like this is the next step. Like people are not yet ready, because we are doing a podcast, we are talking about it, so maybe some people will learn about it through this podcast, but in
Hmm.
general, um we like as a brand, we still have to like inform the consumers.
I think it's also very hard. Like if you get it once, you're fascinated with the whole idea.
Yeah,
To get it in first place is just like another thing. Because I think if you um just like listen to what we're saying and you get it, and everybody who gets it will be like, oh shit, at this point. But if you don't get it,
Yeah,
it's gonna, no worry, like it's gonna take its time until you get it, but
yeah,
the moment you get it, you'll be like,
yeah,
holy
yeah,
shit, that's genius.
yeah, yeah,
And I think that's what you said with like people are not ready yet.
yeah,
Like you
yeah,
have to put it out there so people will understand what we're talking
yeah,
about. To
yeah,
have this vision, to see what is possible with this new technology, it's crazy.
yeah,
I also very very I'm fascinated how you combine new technologies like
yeah,
this, for example,
yeah,
with like fashion in general.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
this is more than just garments, you know. This is more.
Mm,
This is like really, I take everything that's coming out right now and trying to, do a mix up between both.
mm.
It's really great.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. So for me, I think I told you earlier, a big inspiration was Steve Jobs,
Hmm.
rest in peace. So uh, what he was saying basically was like technology should be like a natural thing, because technology is often seen like this hard thing to process. So
Hmm.
to be like to be able to combine technology and like human behavior,
Hmm.
human psychology, it's really like you need like an artistic touch. So for me, Steve Jobs was not like an engineer. For me, he was an artist
Hmm.
because he could actually envision like how to use technology seamlessly, like how
Hmm.
to blend it into our lives.
Yeah,
So
he made it very aesthetic.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
I think most of the people, they don't buy Apple because it's the best product, but it's the most useful. Like in its way, it's super aesthetic. Like
yeah,
it's so. He introduced it to us like it's like an extension of your body.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah,
like you put on your phone, and it's not like a technology, but it's more like an extension for your arm
yeah,
for
yeah,
what you're
yeah,
trying to do. Like it's just super helpful,
yeah,
and all of that in a very aesthetic way too.
yeah,
Like it's just like you never go onto your phone and you're like, oh, this doesn't seem right, like this doesn't
yeah,
look right.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
always
yeah,
like, oh, this is so balanced, this is so
yeah,
perfect, like the shapes and everything he does, like to go on this like very artistic way right now. It's
yeah,
like this is like, I don't think that people know how much work is put into the design of Apple in
yeah,
general.
absolutely. Like they,
It's really crazy.
he literally, I don't know if he was the one, but I feel like he was one of the most important.
Hmm.
That like actually like he made the technology so seamless, and he created a new science behind it. It's like the design language of Apple, like every, like even the way the buttons are or how big are the fonts into the phone, like all these little aspects that makes you feel like this is natural. Like
Do you know the 1% rule?
the 3%, you mean,
No, not the 1% rule. To
of a
get
version?
better 1% every day in any kind of
I heard about
activities.
it.
This is basically exactly also what Apple did. They experimented and took so long to really make the perfect product. And this is just not, there's like, if you, for me, if I wake up, I read my book. I can't because it got stolen, but
No shit.
I read my book, and this is just like I leave my phone away for the first hour to get better. And even though it's just like slowly, at some point it's going
Yeah,
like this parallel, like it's exponentially growing at some point, and I'm like here right now, like
yeah,
it's not going fast right now, but at one point it's going like this.
yeah,
Best example is humanity, like the involvement of humanity. Like if you think about how long it took us to figure out how to make fire, then like at one point phones and cars and everything,
yeah,
and we're at the moment like right here, like our life, like the in general, the inventions and the technology that is coming into our lives, like AI and everything, bro, it's going like
yeah,
this right now. We are
yeah,
like at the peak, and it's
yeah,
just going quicker and quicker and quicker.
yeah,
And yeah, this is just also something like this 1% rule is basically saying like, do something, get habits that make you 1% better every day.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's gonna take a while, but it's getting better at over time.
Yeah,
You just
yeah,
have to
yeah,
consistently stay on business and keep
yeah,
grinding. Like if even if it's like it could be simple things like skincare, for example.
yeah,
Do your skincare, brush your teeth every night, and even if you're like coming home wasted from the club, bro, go there, do your skincare. And
yeah,
I think what helped me really is the this one sentence in my head that's always like, nah, you have to do your routine, because if you set out your routine, if you don't do your routine, you're gonna break
yeah,
it, and you don't want to do
yeah,
that. Like this is your routine, you have to do it, and this really helped me. Maybe this is helping some of you too, guys.
yeah, yeah. I feel like consistency is key.
Yeah, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, yeah. Like I really had to teach myself that because I am a procrastinator. I feel like all major artists are procrastinators in some way,
Bro.
but it comes to like it comes to a place where you have to become a better person in order to really do great stuff in the world. So I feel like the journey of an artist to like become an amatorial artist, to become like a legend
Mhm.
or like an icon, you really need to be able to be consistent with your work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think this is when I started doing like fashion content or content in general, like people they didn't understand, because I'm from a not a small town, but like still like a town where Germany is like it's very not positive scene if you do content. I don't know why people in Germany they don't it feels like you know they
yeah,
don't
yeah,
want you
yeah,
to
yeah,
succeed.
yeah,
And nowadays I get a lot of questions from people of, yo, how can I do content, like how do I start, how do I like make my
yeah,
account and go viral and shit. And the first thing I tell most of the people is that, yo, do content for 2 months and then talk to me again,
yeah,
because I know that they won't put in the consistency. They
yeah,
only search for this instant
yeah,
virality.
yeah,
They just
virality.
want to go viral like
Yeah,
instantly, but this
you
is not
know,
how it works. I noticed for myself that um I grow very slow, but the followers I get are real. They're not just
yeah,
following me because they saw one video and they're like, "Oh shit, this is so aesthetic. This is so cool. I'm following this guy."
yeah, they're
And then
following
like they
for
forget about me. Like the people that follow me and watch my videos, especially my podcast, shout out to you guys,
Mhm.
are like people that are interested into the stuff I'm doing,
Yeah,
interested in me as a person, interested in what I have to say. You
yeah,
know what I
yeah, yeah.
mean?
Yeah, I feel like in this aspect, like one very big lesson I learned about myself, and I can maybe teach other people, is like when you're trying to start a path, for example, like become a content creator, the important thing is to do it as easy that like the easiest way possible for you at first, so you
Hmm.
can get a grasp. So maybe people get scared because they say like, oh, I have to learn this, I have to learn how to do this, but you don't need to like start perfect,
Hmm.
but you just start as in the most easy way you can, and from there you can build up.
Exactly. It's the same
As you
with
said,
designs. Yeah.
yeah, as you said, like 1% every day, so you just add a little bit of a little bit of a
Yeah.
little
You
bit.
have to. The important thing is you have to start,
Yeah,
and everything else will come over time if
yeah,
you're doing it consistently. Like
yeah,
it's the same with design. If you start a brand, the first 80 pieces you design will have no design language in
yeah,
reality, but you'll look back at these 80 pieces you did, at these
yeah,
80 tech packs or 80 clothing pieces, and you'll be like, okay, I see this is like a theme that I'm going for a lot, and this is just maybe really playing into my whole design language. Maybe this is
yeah,
my design language. You have
yeah,
to figure out what your design language is as like your cutting style when it comes to doing content.
yeah,
And this is why I'm telling you guys, if you want to start content, start now.
yeah,
Don't overly think about it. Just record a video as you randomly would do and cut it. Just learn how to cut. Just do it. Just
yeah,
the main thing you have to do is just do.
yeah.
Not think, do.
And what if I can add something more is that um, basically, as I said, like you have to start small and get better and better. But also, I feel like for me personally, when I say like work smart, is that some people does that. Like like there is opposite. There is the people that doesn't start, and there is people that start but doesn't like put in the mental work to actually find the flows in their work, in their own work. So you can maybe see my first collection, it's cool, like you see, oh, it's nice, but before that I had a shit ton of works. I drew a shit ton of t-shirt designs and shit, and like every time like I will maybe draw something, I will, it maybe take me like 1 hour to make a graphic, and I will spend like 4 days looking at it and like trying to see if I really like it, like, and trying to analyze it in different perspectives and try to empathize with my customer to see if I was a customer, would I like this graphic? All that shit like adds up. So it's a lot of mental work, I feel, because you can just produce something and like keep analyzing it until like one day you will wake up and you will say, oh, I had this fucking great idea to like to better my work, so I will switch it and find a new path. So we get back to the same philosophy, leaping steps. So basically it's not about doing the same thing every time, every day. It
It's
is
the way you have to like, get better over time.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Like,
Yeah,
it's gonna take its while,
yeah,
but you just get better with every little step you take. I
yeah.
think. By the way, do you think? Because you told me us before and me already that you're doing like you want to do furniture as well. You do a lot of accessories. Like you think outside of the box. You think it's helpful for you to find your design language, or it was easier for you to find your design language because you did artworks like this and this and this
Yeah.
as well as like concentrating more on accessories as well, because I think a lot of people are it's hard for them to find their design language because they're only concentrating on clothing, even though they could also concentrate on furniture, what is very creative too, and just like
Yeah.
also plays into the whole design language in reality.
Well, that's a good question. I feel like it does, like, because I've always been on art. Even before creating a brand, I used to do photography. I like to experiment with paintings and like to experiment with like stuff in general, technologies in general. I've always been curious about that. So it really helped me to find the design language.
Is this, by the way you got your first money to be able to start with your brand by doing your artworks and selling them?
Well,
Because
yeah, in
this is, I
part,
think
yeah,
this is a very interesting question for the viewers, because
yeah,
it's just like I think a lot of people, they don't have the budget to start somewhere, and they really
yeah.
try to get this question of the way, like how do I start? How do I get the money to start my own clothing brand?
Okay, so that's a good question actually. When I start, like the first ever time I put myself there and I created a logo for a brand and I was trying to make a brand, I didn't have any money. Like truly, I didn't have shit. And so at one point, I stopped doing anything because I said, fuck, I don't have any budget. What? Like, okay, I spent like 3 months doing graphic designs, but I don't have any money to produce. So, what I can suggest to the people to do if they don't have any money to start a brand is that you need to go to a bank, rob it, and you will get the money. I'm joking, but like you need to find money somewhere. I personally did e-commerce a lot, and also, yeah, as you said, I did some money selling my stuff. I didn't sell a lot because I didn't like. I had some issues with because I was working with an art gallerist, but he was scamming me, and it was becoming stressful. And for me, doing paintings and stuff was like a passion. So I never liked to be put in a frame where I felt like a slave because I was doing art mechanically at a
Or
point.
you've been pushed too much that you
Yeah,
have to,
so I was like, nah, man, that's not that's not how I want to do it anyway.
yeah.
So because when you work in that area and you have a big name on you,
Mm.
it's easier to set your rules. But when you're like, I was not no one. Like, I was nobody, but my art was nice, so people was buying it for the art itself.
Mhm.
So they really they didn't give a shit about me. So I feel like you need to put some value into yourself first, otherwise people will just fuck you over.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, uh, what was we talking about before that? I forgot.
Good question. No, I have.
Yeah, we just lose ourselves like.
Yeah, we just. I see. Like
switching
we talk
through,
so much and about
yeah,
like we get so deep into topics that sometimes you. But that's normal, you know. Like for
yeah,
everybody, it's nobody. Like nobody's perfect in this
yeah.
context. Sometimes you lose yourself in topics as well, bro. Like this is normal, bro. But yeah, I really like your artworks, by the way. Like, especially this
Yeah,
one. I don't know if you can see this, guys. I don't think so. But like, these
yeah,
are very cool. It's
yeah.
like a very creative way. I like your office, by the way. In general, like you have some really cool stuff. Like this
Thanks,
lamp, by the way,
man.
just to show the followers. Like this is just if you put your hand out there throughout the warm, like throughout the body temperature, the fluid just goes up.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like what the fuck? This is like something really cool, bro. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice, bro.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Like, as I told you, you have to put like, passion and love in every aspect of your life. So the way you decorate your space, the way you live your life, the way, like,
It should all come
every,
together as this one piece.
yeah, 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 yeah. Even the way you prepare coffee in the morning, it can be a way to make art, because
Yeah,
like you're
true.
doing it in a certain way,
Yeah.
you're delicate with it. So
And it's for me.
everything.
If I told you if I wake up like some routines that you can also maybe copy for yourselves that help me a lot because you guys have to know that this year started really shit for me. I don't know, like
Oh,
last year I was in Miami for a month and I gained a lot of inspiration, a lot of motivation, and I came back and yeah, bro, like I started into the year like very in a negative way because I had all this motivation, inspiration that was just gone,
mm,
and I really had to figure out for myself like how can I do my work more productive, more on a regular base, and also what habits can help me escape this negative person, this negative mindset that I have right now. And for me, that was first of all having um, a time to wake up in the morning, like a fab, like a one time that I wake up every morning.
yeah,
For me, that's 7 a.m. Not right now because we're on
yeah.
vacation, you know.
It's cool.
But yeah, like normally I wake up at 7 a.m. in the morning. Then I leave my phone the first hour just like on the bed, just in plane mode, and don't touch it at all. I go up, I read my book, I make my coffee, and as you said, like it's like a ceremony for me. Like if I
Yeah,
make my coffee, bro, I know exactly how to do it, bro.
yeah,
And then I'll drink. Well, it's called a Weissbierglas in Germany. It's like for beer, special
yeah,
kind of glass. It's like half a liter, so I know how much I'm drinking, and I put some lime in there just to
yeah,
get all the toxic shit from the day before out of my
yeah,
system.
yeah,
And I drink it because water is a lot. It's also good for your health and
yeah.
your skin in general, guys. We talked a lot about skincare in the
Get
last few
hydrated, guys.
days. Yeah, and yeah. After that, I go to my phone. I go through my phone, and this is just it helped me a lot. Same as
Yeah,
like I'm doing more cardio right now,
yeah,
and it sounds dumb because I hate cardio still to this
yeah.
point, bro. And
It
I
is
don't like
annoying.
reading too, but I do it because it helps me. It really does. It's weird.
Yeah,
But, let me tell you this from a person who probably is like you out there who has the same problems, who hates reading, who hates jogging, and you know
yeah,
this is just really helped me get my life together in a lot of ways. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, true. What you said is really true. You like reading?
Like I hated
Well,
reading.
you just said you don't
I
like it,
really
but
hated reading. At this point, it's getting
what type
it.
of books you
Yeah,
usually
I
read?
read books that help me develop something in my life. Like I really like, for example, I can give you some recommendations like Atomic Habits
Okay.
and how to fasten them,
Mm-hmm.
and as well as I read The Courage to Be Disliked. That was a pretty good
The
book to read.
Courage to Be Disliked.
Yeah,
Sounds nice.
it is really good. It basically is it's a conversation, a monologue between like the youth, like a young guy, and I felt a philosopher at a library, and they talk about that he thinks the the teenager basically that everything that you grew up with
Mm.
happened in a way, but you can't change it afterwards. Like if you're like if you're already set up in a negative way when you're 20, he said that you can't change it at all anymore. Like you can't change your life. You're built like that, you grew up like
Oh.
that, and you're basically fucked for your life. And he's pretty much taking this and separating everything and telling him like, yo, it's basically just a you problem. Like if, for example, like people get loud in general, like aggressive, it's most of the time just because they want the attention.
Yeah.
They want in this moment, like for example, if I drop a plate or a glass and not crashes, it you know what do you call it?
It
It
crashes.
breaks. It
Yeah.
breaks.
Yeah.
Most of like if you're living at home and your mom is like, yo, and shouting at you like, yo, why did you break the glass? And bro, in the end, it's broken. You can't fix it.
Yeah.
Like the only thing that is really would be the right reaction to that be like, yo, shit, it happened, learn from it, and go next. Because you can still cry about that 2 days later, but what will it give you? Nothing. Just negative emotion. And
that's true.
in this part, like where your mom gets like loud and aggressive and shouts at you, it's like only because she wants you to know that you fucked up.
Yeah.
But you know that you fucked up. She could also just say like, oh no, that wasn't that great, but learn from it, But she just wants in this moment like to really understand you, and that's why she's getting loud to grab your attention. Like,
yeah. Well,
this
that's super true actually, because I feel like errors are such a fundamental things in a
it's
artist
human. It's
in an
human as well.
artist.
Yeah.
Because for me personally, it came to a point where I was like, if I'm not doing at least one error at a day, I'm not like learning enough. Like like, because for me every error is a lesson. So
That you can learn from.
yeah, for me the most important things about errors is that you can learn a lesson from it. So
That's true.
I've always been like the type of guy that will burn itself to learn a lesson, because that's how I usually.
But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I get that. I also like I feel like a lot of parents are at this point trying to protect their children from doing something stupid, but you will not learn, especially in this world, anything about when you can't do mistakes.
Yeah.
Because you learn from mistakes. This is like, see, like when my MacBook got stolen yesterday, I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
We should have put it in the trunk, as my parents told me back then, because they had the same situation happening to them once. So,
Fuck.
now I know that next time I won't put it in the back seat. I'll put it in the trunk right before we go. So, it's this type of situations that most of the times parents or other people will tell you, and you know it, but you just don't do it, or you forget about it, and then you'll have to learn the hard way. It's just how life goes. Yeah,
Absolutely.
better learn it in the first few years of your life than when it's already too late and you can't really learn anything anymore. Because there is a blockade, of course. There's psychology and it's science at this point. I think it's proven already that after your 21st birthday, like your brain is gonna it's not going to be able to take that much information and learn as quickly as it was before in your youth. Because this is also like really easy to explain. As a child, you have to learn how to walk, how to speak, how to communicate with people. Like this is the fundamental developing stages of your life. And if you think about how much you learn in this stage, it's crazy. And also what I'm maybe this is you can translate that to your life too. But for me, I want to live my life to the fullest. Like I want to meet as much as persons as possible. I want to visit as much continents and countries and cultures as possible. And for me, I noticed that life goes slower if you're traveling a lot and getting more information, like different information all the time.
Oh yeah.
Because have you noticed that if you're sitting on your phone in your city and like there's days that just go over so quickly.
Yeah.
But if you're in another country without your like, so with your phone turned off, you just look around, you meet other people, talk to them, get more inspiration, just see other pictures, learn about cultures. The days they seem like they're just not ending.
Yeah,
You
man.
know, the
Like
time goes.
I felt that yesterday actually because we did so much shit yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, damn, that was such a long day.
See,
But it was really nice. Like I
exactly.
loved it. So
For me, this is
true.
like how to live your life. This is like the way to live your life. If you want to have
Absolutely.
a like really wholesome, just long,
Yeah.
good life, go travel.
Yeah.
Go travel.
Yeah. Absolutely. I feel like traveling helped me a huge amount of like in my life. Traveling, like discovering new cultures in general, it's very helpful. Anyone that travels can tell you that. So it's not a new thing. And if I never traveled, I would have never like came to China, go to a factory,
Hmm.
like met like all like see all this shit. So
Hmm.
I wouldn't even be here in the first place. So it is really important to do that.
I think it's also very important if you talk about like some people they just don't get why certain people just act the way they act. For example, I had it when we were in our place in Stuttgart, and we were talking about a girl from America and the way she acts, and I was like, yeah, but this is just like the American, like Americans are like this, like especially people from the U.S. Because for example, like the English itself is a very, it's not a deep language. Everything seems very not so personal.
Mhm.
It's like very just like they're scratching the first layer a little bit when they're going to conversations. Like having a hard, like deep conversation like we are doing right now, it takes like really sitting down
Mhm.
and getting in a mood where you can openly talk about something.
Yeah.
And most Americans are very just placative
Yeah.
on top. They don't really want to get in this kind of.
You felt like that when like you visited America?
Oh yeah, there's a lot
Uh,
of people that just go like they meet you and the next day they're like, okay, next person.
yeah. Yeah.
And
Like, you know what? This is something interesting because you said you went to Miami.
yeah,
So no offense, but like I feel like people there are kind of like that.
yeah, this is of
And
course it's a kind,
and
yeah,
some,
yeah.
if I can say something positive about Italy,
Mm.
because Italy has a lot of flows,
Mhm.
but in Milan especially, it's a really interesting place because you find people that are really willing to uh, have deep conversation. So I often find like models or artists
This is
or
how we met, by the way.
yeah.
At a
So
club, he was just coming up to me like, "Yo, bro, I like your style. You want to shoot next day?" And I'm like, "Yo, why not, bro? I'm here for a week, so let's go,
yeah.
let's connect." And now we're sitting here taking a podcast.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it went. So it's always interesting because you see passionate people about their craft. So it depends where you want to go. Like you want to talk fashion, come to Milan.
Yeah,
Like you will find people back. You want to talk technology, go to the Silicon Valley.
yeah,
You will
yeah,
for sure find a lot of interesting people to talk about technology with.
yeah.
So
Just coming back quickly to the point that what I was trying to say is like people don't like they don't get how certain like certain people act, and for me that has been I've been traveling my whole life, like
mm,
throughout, like I've been to a lot of countries, a lot of
mm,
continents, like, and I've seen a lot of cultures, and cultures in general are so different from each other. The way they act, like the way they got raised, people, and like the way they act in general when it's coming to conversations, to deep conversations, to treating people. Like in Japan, for example, people are so fucking respectful, bro.
oh
I love this so much because, bro, you're crossing the street and like a car gives you the advantage to go over
yeah,
the
he let you
crossway,
cross. Yeah,
exactly, and they are bowing. Like in Germany, we do like a thanks,
yeah,
and they're bowing, bro, for
yeah.
that.
That's crazy.
They have so much respect for the other person, but at the same time, this at some point comes a negative because for them it's like to meet a person like in a romantical way, it's really hard because you have to be so respectful in
Oh,
any kind of way that
shit.
it's like they're super shy. You know, they don't really
Yeah.
have any conversations with other
Mm.
people because they're so respectful. So they're not all that outgoing as other people.
Yeah.
For Americans, for example, it's really easy to
Yeah.
let's say hook up to because like they're
Yeah.
very I told you
Open.
like just for the first they don't want to go into that deep in
Yeah.
a connection. They just want to love like
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
say like they just want to fuck like you know
Yeah.
of course there's always like exceptions but the general people like the
Mhm.
stories that you hear about America is true. Like I was at a frat party and it was exactly like you mentioned. It's like Project X,
American
bro.
Pie.
Yeah. Like Project X but like even better. It's
Yeah.
crazy, bro.
Yeah.
And yeah, German people, for example, they are very they don't give you shit.
Mm.
You know, if they see you succeeding, they're like behind your back. They don't. They're
That's
like really.
crazy,
They
man.
don't give you. They don't want you to succeed.
Well, man, that's tough because it is not easy to find people that you can really connect with on a deeper level. So I feel part of the culture that we have is like just hook up, like keep it surface,
Mm-hmm.
just go with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it depends on the values and the boundaries of a person. Like, what are you looking for? So I feel like if you put your mindset and your heart in a position where you like, see, I want to attract that type of energy, I want to attract that type of people, I feel like eventually you're gonna find it. But if you're like, oh, I mean, it is what it is. I don't really care. I will just like everybody's surface, so I will just go with like that. Eventually, you will just find that those type of people. So it depends on what you're willing to attract.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
the people you attract is based on your behavior.
yeah, absolutely. I learned it the hard way. For me, that was such a hard lesson to grasp, and I had to fail many times to really get it. But I feel like when I try to force too much, like if I try to convince someone of my value, it's he's not gonna see it.
Mm-hmm.
He's not gonna feel it. So instead, if I just spontaneously just say, "This is who I am. This
Mm-hmm.
is what I do," and yeah, like I feel like we can be a good match if you're willing to.
I think it's the same thing with relationships. If you really search for a relationship, it's not gonna
Yeah,
work. Or it's not gonna
yeah,
work because the way I noticed this yesterday at the club. You know, when you try to talk like to a girl, for example, it's like, bro, you're going there with the intention to meet someone, and
yeah,
that already puts you into the state where you are desiring to talk to a person. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
you're just trying too hard already,
yeah,
and that's why most of the times it's not going to work because
mm,
the energy you give off by talking to somebody
yeah,
and like really wanting the conversation is just like super forceful at some point, and that's I think if you really want to meet somebody for life, it's gonna be spontaneous, like
yeah.
super random, like some shit that both of you like you drop something on the ground, for example, like and then he
Yeah.
you try to grab it up and she's just like uh also
Holy
trying to,
shit.
and then you bump into each other like, oh sorry, and then you get into the conversation, for example, like the classic one. But
Yeah,
yeah, I don't think that you're gonna find real love over like I don't know
yeah,
Hinge
club.
or Tinder or shit or Club.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty hard. It's pretty hard.
yeah.
Well, man, how long has been? How much have we
Oh
been
yeah,
talking?
we can wrap it by the way here. um Pretty productive podcast. I really like the
Yeah.
shit we've been talking about. Have you any like just stuff to say to the viewers, the people that want to go into fashion or in general want to do their own art, make their own brand?
If I can tell you something,
Mm-hmm.
two lessons that are gonna sound pretty much opposite. But first, do not count on anybody. Like, do your shit. Do not wait for somebody to come save you because it's not gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
So just do your shit. Like, put in your work and try to do everything yourself. At the same time, but on the opposite, because this is for, like, I'm saying this for the people that are trying to wait to find the right people to work with. Don't be looking for that. But if I can give instead another advice for the people that instead are trying to do everything alone, don't do that. Like it's nice that you are doing that, but also in your heart, like put your heart in a place where people can actually help you. Because once you're starting to do everything on your own, you're automatically gonna start attract people. But I feel like a lot of people like deny others people help, and this is counterproductive because do your shit but be open, let people help you. So when people comes towards you and say, oh, you're doing amazing, I want to help you, I want to work with you, don't be like in denial, like, no, I don't need anybody, I will do it. Like
Accept the help,
open
yeah.
your heart to
Yeah.
other people. That's what I'm gonna say.
That's really good. And with that being the end, bro, thanks for taking part in the podcast.
Thanks to you, man.
It was a very, very good one, bro. Really
Thank
had
you,
a lot
man.
of fun, bro.
Thanks for having me.
Let's go into the end.
Didn't record anything.